This is the 9th lesson in our email course entitled Data Storytelling for Sports. In this lesson, we'll cover 3 main topics. The first topic will be an introduction to Power BI, and we'll answer the question of why use Power BI for data storytelling. The second topic will discuss structuring the Power BI report, using the data story outline that we've been working on throughout the course. And the third topic will discuss building the Power BI report. We'll close the lesson with a look ahead at our next lesson, which will focus on creating and producing videos. Power BI is a data visualization and business intelligence tool created by Microsoft. It enables you to connect various data sources, create interactive dashboards and reports, and share those insights through the web, mobile, or embedded in apps. We've covered socials and infographics, so creating your data story through a report or dashboard is a shift away from these other forms of content. You typically use socials or infographics when you want to tell a quick, punchy visual story to a broad or public audience, or you want to emphasize style, virality, or education. You use Power BI when you want interactive, explorable data storytelling. You're publishing to an audience that wants to explore trends, filters, or scenarios, or you're working with dynamic or complex data. Where Power BI can excel for your data story is as follows. Interactivity. Viewers can filter, explore, and personalize the story. Real-time data. You can plug in live or regularly updated data sources. Depth. Readers can dig into multiple layers of context. Shareable. Publish to the web, embed in sites, or share as a secure report link. Power BI is different from socials and infographics in several ways, which we illustrate in the following table. For example, Power BI provides great filtering and interactive reports, whereas socials and infographics are more static without the ability to drill into visualizations. Further, you can create refreshable dashboards that are connected to live data using Power BI. Now, you can build socials and infographics that are somewhat interactive, but you'll need to build them using tools such as D3 and JavaScript. To structure the Power BI report, let's take a step back and look at where we ended up in our data story outline. If you remember, we landed on 5 potential parts to the original story, which asked, when do NHL superstars peak? These 5 components to the data story outline are shown here. It was within this outline, though, that we discovered the deeper story of Mario Lemieux. And through the social and infographic, we manifested that story in different ways. For Power BI, we'll again create the story in a slightly different way, but still rely on the data and findings within the outline. We like to keep Power BI more about the numbers, so we're going to break things out into 2 reports, one for the top NHL superstars and one for Lemieux versus Gretzky. We'll do this for 2 reasons. One, we want to show how the NHL superstars compare, but we also want to show that Mario Lemieux performed better than the other players when it came to goals per game. And 2, we want to show a comparative view between Lemieux and Gretzky. The Power BI report here comprises 7 elements: 1 title bar, 1 slicer control, 4 cards, and 1 clustered column chart. We use PowerPoint to create the background image for Power BI and then add the data fields to each of the controls. With some reformatting, we created a dark theme design with a gradient background and a transparent logo for branding. The default report shows all of the superstars that we curated for the project. You can use the slicer to filter on specific players, and the clustered column chart will update, as will the metrics at the top of the report. The second report compares Lemieux and Gretzky using their actual career statistics and adjusted statistics. We did this through 2 line charts. The top line chart shows the 2 superstars' careers, but with Lemieux you can see the points where his statistics dropped to 0, which we've highlighted in transparent shading. The bottom chart is the same comparison, but this time we adjusted Lemieux's statistics, using his average goals per game to fill the missing years. You'll also note that we used a different branding on this report, one more in line with the Pittsburgh Penguins colors. For this lesson, you can access the data, background images, and Power BI report through the course GitHub repo. In this lesson, we took the original data story outline we created earlier in the email course, and then created a Power BI report to tell the story. The story was pretty small by dashboard standards, comprising 2 reports that had a summary view of all superstars and a more detailed comparison, actuals and adjusted, of Lemieux and Gretzky. At this point, we've created the data story using socials, infographics, and now Power BI. Our next challenge is to create the data story using video. We left this modality to later in the course because it's more tricky to create and produce videos. However, they are a lot of fun and highly rewarding.